Live? Are we live? Are we live? We're live! Well, hey,
Yeah.
here we go. We pressed the go live button. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
How's it
everyone.
going? This is amazingly momentous occasion. This is the first FuseSchool live stream.
First ever.
And
And
I
they've been going for
feel
10 years.
so honored to be part of it. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's amazing to see everyone here. So I feel like some introductions are in order. So I'm going to say, Thea, do you want to go first?
Yes. Hi, I'm Sophia. I am a presenter for Incredible Oceans. My background is earth science, but I'm really passionate about everything to do with our ocean and our climate and ocean animals. And I make videos for Incredible Oceans. And Russell, do you want to share a bit about you?
Certainly. So my name is Russell, and I am a marine biologist at the University of Bath. I used to be a teacher as well. I used to be a science teacher. And so we've started working with FuseSchools to kind of bring a bit of oceans into the proceeding. They've obviously been making these amazing videos that are based around the GCSE curriculum, a video for every single science topic, which is brilliant. And we were like, hey, we should totally try and get some oceans in there. So to explain a little bit of the history of how we started working together, it all goes back to 2015 and this event called Whale Fest. Now, when Whale Fest happened, it happened down in Brighton, and this was the largest marine festival that there'd ever been. 15,000 people a day attended it. And I'm pleased to say that some of the people that started FuseSchools, particularly Phoebe, came along and was really excited about what we were doing and was like, hey guys, how do you feel about doing a FuseSchool ocean collaboration? And then they said, well, because we've got like a good amount of subscribers, we can head down to YouTube Space in London. So we went down to YouTube Space in London, which was an amazing experience. And we just started filming all of these marine videos. So, you know, we were learning as we went along, which was pretty cool to write scripts and to try out some ideas. So we thought we'd kick things off today. So the theme of this is all about how loud the ocean is. So we're going to be looking at ocean acoustics and animals that use ocean acoustics, and a little bit about noise pollution as well. So we thought the reason, we chose this subject is we thought we'd show you the first ever FuseSchool Incredible Oceans collaboration video. So this was, we look back at this now and we're like, I can't believe it. This is so funny how, like, for me, it's a little bit cringeworthy. It's not my best work, but you get an idea. So this was like the first stepping stone of FuseSchools and Incredible Oceans working together. So here we go. This is our video all about ocean acoustics. Go video. Hi, I'm Russell, oceanographer, presenter and pirate. You might have walked past some loud roadworks before and noticed people wearing ear defenders to protect their ears from damage. Roadworks can be as loud as 120 decibels. We measure how loud sound is in decibels, but there's some even louder sounds out there. Volcanoes, nuclear bombs, rockets taking off are all getting up towards the loudest sound possible in air, which is 194 decibels. But because the particles in water are closer together than air particles, sounds can be louder in water. At 25 meters long, sperm whales are not only the largest carnivore on Earth, but they're also the loudest animal. Like us, they use sound to communicate, but they can also use echolocation to produce clicks, helping them to find prey in the ocean depths. These clicks can be as loud as 224 decibels. That is so loud that a sperm whale click could not only rupture your eardrums, but could also knock you unconscious. The sperm whale's incredible head is like a powerful megaphone, emitting pulses of sounds in distinct patterns which we call coders. And each whale's coda seems to be unique to them. In other words, they might be calling their name across the whole ocean. And because sounds travel over 4 times faster in water than it does in air, 2 whales could, in theory, speak to each other anywhere on Earth.
But as well as whales, there are lots of other natural noises in the oceans, including waves crashing, wind howling, the earthquakes rumbling, ice cracking, and rainfall hissing. The ocean is a really noisy place to live. The thing is, we humans have significantly increased the level of sound in the ocean. Boat propellers, submarine sonar, oil and gas exploration, deep sea mining, drilling for oil, and construction work all contribute to underwater noise pollution. This can scare animals, causing them to change their feeding patterns or sometimes to strand themselves. And just as loud sounds hurt our ears, ocean noise can also harm marine creatures. Humans have increased the sound in the ocean over the last 70 years, before some of the marine mammals and fish alive today were even born. So what can you do to reduce ocean noise? First of all, buy local. By consuming products that are grown close to where you live or made close to where you live, this reduces the amount of goods that we have to ship across the ocean. If you're lucky enough to own a boat, make sure that you clean your propeller regularly, and this reduces the amount of underwater noise. And finally, we can all tell politicians and companies that we want them to help make the oceans a more peaceful place to live. The thing about noise pollution is that when you turn it off, it goes away. So now you know a bit more about how the ocean affects you and how you affect the ocean. Well done! You are now more ocean literate. Our mission at Incredible Oceans is to help everyone become more ocean literate. The ocean is a fun place to visit and it's full of amazing sea creatures. We'd like to keep it that way.
Wow! That animation is so cool.
The animation is brilliant, and so I've got to say, like, if you're a fan of the FuseSchool site and the FuseSchool style, that's all down to Bing, who is an incredible animator, and he such a fun style, loads of colors. It's really cool. I've got to say, like, with that awful wooden performance, you are now ocean literate. Like, that video was totally carried by Bing's animation. So thanks ever so much, Bing. That was awesome.
I didn't realize sound moves so much faster in water than it does in air. That's 1,500 meters per second in seawater, which is, that's crazy fast.
It is crazy fast. Well, so if you think about how a sound wave works, sound needs a medium to travel through. So in obviously, everyone has heard that thing. In space, no one can hear you scream because there's no particles in space. It's just a vacuum. But then in air, the particles are quite spaced out. So if you imagine it like a domino rally, if those dominoes are quite far apart, it's going to go slower. Whereas if those dominoes are really close together, then they can knock over each other much faster. And because water is like 1,000 times denser than air is, then that sound wave can move super quick.
That's 15 football pitches a second sound moves out in ocean water.
That was good maths.
Quick maths, yeah.
Yeah, quick maths.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, well, it does kind of annoy me. I'd always want to go like underwater in a swimming pool and just be like, whoa, and like yell things, but you know, it never comes out how I want it to in my head. I'm like, whales, how have you done this so well? There we go.
We'll awesome. Try next time we're in a swimming pool, we'll trial some sperm whale clicking or something.
Sperm whale clicking, exactly. Well, so I'm gonna move on now to one of our next video. And now this next video is all about sperm whales, which we talked a little bit about in that first thing. And we felt that sperm whales were so awesome that they deserved their own video. So there is, yeah, it's so good. I love sperm whales.
They're probably my favorite ocean animal, to be honest. And I think it's the ocean animal that I've probably seen the most in the wild as well, which is quite rare, but I've got really lucky several times. But maybe let's do the video first and tell our travel stories later.
Well, I was going to say, because they're one of my favorite animals and I keep trying to see them. And I've been to like the Azores to try and see them. And I always miss them. And I'm like, why are you so elusive, you amazing animal? But yeah.
I saw one in the Azores. Anyway.
Just before I forget, we've got lots of people looking right now. through Facebook and through our YouTube channel and through the FuseSchool channel. What's really important and really helps us out is subscribing. Now, this isn't just for our egos. We're not like, oh yeah, we've got all this many subscribers, we're so popular. In order to keep making videos and doing live streams, we really, really rely on the YouTube algorithm and likes and subscribing. It's like one little click, and that really, really helps us out. So if you are watching this, go over to any of the channels that you're not watching this on. If you're watching it on FuseSchools and you've subscribed, go to Incredible Oceans and subscribe. If you're watching it on Incredible Oceans, go over to FuseSchool and subscribe. It's like one click. Just type in FuseSchool, type in Incredible Oceans, and it really, really helps us out.
And they're all linked in the comments, in the description as well. Everything's linked in the description.
So many links, so many links. Anyway, enough administration. Let's watch this awesome video about sperm whales.
Yeah.
The sperm whale is definitely one of the coolest creatures on Earth. Not only does its name instill hysterical giggles in all teenage boys, but it also holds a number of world records. First of all, it is the largest carnivore on Earth. The females are typically around 20 meters long, while the big bull males can be up to 25 meters long. That's the same length as a school bus. Secondly, they are the loudest animal on Earth. You've probably walked past roadworks before and noticed the people there wearing ear defenders to protect their hearing. This sound is about 120 decibels, and if they're exposed to this sound level all day, they would quickly damage their ears. Sperm whale clicks of up to 240 decibels have been recorded in the ocean. This sound is 1,200 times more powerful than the sound from roadworks. The sound is so loud that people swimming next to sperm whales have been knocked unconscious. But because the particles in water are much closer together than they are in air, it means that sound can travel much further and much faster in the ocean. Scientists think that sperm whales are so loud that one sperm whale can speak to another anywhere on Earth. That's like me being able to shout to my sister in New Zealand. Finally, sperm whales hold the world record for having the biggest brains on Earth. If you put both of your fists together, that's roughly the same size as your brain. But a sperm whale's brain is almost half a meter across. And because it has the same cell density, as well as the deep grooves and furrows that our brain has, scientists think that sperm whales might be more intelligent than humans, but in a way that our feeble human brains don't understand. It's easy to think that's the reason why sperm whales have such funny shaped heads. But in fact, a sperm whale's head is full of a weird, waxy, oily substance called spermaceti, and it's that gives the sperm whale its name. This waxy oil helps the sperm whale produce its super loud sound, also helps it dive deep underwater. We're used to thinking of sperm whales as surface creatures, but in fact they only spend 10 minutes out of every hour at the surface, breathing in the air. The rest of the time, they hold their breath, diving down to depths of about 2,000 meters to hunt for their favorite food, giant squids. That's right, sperm whales are so hardcore, they eat giant squids for breakfast. At this depth, it's so deep that light can't penetrate. So sperm whales can't use their eyes. Instead, they have to use their ears. You might have heard that bats use echolocation to see in the dark. They send out a sound pulse, which echoes off an object and comes back to them. The longer the time difference between sending out the sound and getting it back means the object is further away. But the sperm whale can not only tell how far away something is using sound, they can also see or hear what shape it is, what it's made from, what direction it's going, how fast it's going, and they can even see inside it. And all that just using sound. And that's why sperm whales are awesome.
That is why sperm whales are awesome.
They're so awesome. And the sound thing is, it's not just good for them, it's good for us studying them as well. So when I used to be out in the Mediterranean years ago studying sperm whales, we used to trail, I know, I'm very lucky, a hydrophone behind the ship, and a hydrophone can pick up those clicks of the sperm whales. And so we used to take shifts during the night to spend 2 hours with these big headphones on, and you'd have to listen for sperm whale clicks. Because as they dive, the clicking gets quicker as they get to the bottom. And then when the clicking stops, you know, they found their prey, and the chances are they're coming back up to the surface, and you can keep an eye out for them. But I used to love that. It's so relaxing just spending a couple of hours with some headphones listening for clicking whales. It's amazing.
That's really cool. Well, that's a great thing about studying acoustics in the ocean, is not only can you, just like we've got different voices, you can pick these out from different species of whales. You can get an idea of individual whales, you can get an idea of whale numbers. But instead of just being like there's lots of whales or lots of dolphins here, you can actually, from the clicks and the type of sounds that they're emitting, you can figure out what activity they're doing underwater as well, which is pretty amazing to be able to do that just using sound. So one of the other things which I didn't talk about in that video was the other thing that sperm whales can do. Because they can see in sound and they can communicate in sound and they can see all of those things I was talking about, like they can use the Doppler effect to work out how far away or how fast something's going and in what direction. They can see inside it, so they know roughly what material it's made from and everything. But because once they've seen that using sound, they can then send that using sound. So in theory, a sperm whale can send a 3D holographic text message with information to any other sperm whale on Earth using just its face, which is when you're like, what?
That's going to be the next iPhone upgrade, the iPhone XX130 or whatever they're going to do next.
The iPhone sperm whale. There we go. So I've got a couple of sperm whale artifacts here, which I thought I'd show just to kind of give an idea of scale. Now, these are really cool. I really love these. So this is an actual sperm whale tooth. And this one has been scrimshored. So scrimshoring is, so this tooth is like almost 300 years old, and this was when we used to go and hunt whales, and what the thing that we used to hunt them for was that spermaceti inside their face, because before we figured that we could get oil out of the ground, all of the oil to lubricate all the machines and that we used to burn in lanterns all came from sperm whale faces. And so the meat was like a secondary thing. It was all about the oil. And so in between catching whales and harpooning them and cutting them up and boiling them down on the ship, the sailors would take the teeth out of the bottom jawbone, and using pins, they would carve intricate patterns into it. So that's the whaling ship there. And then they'd like rub ink into it. So it's much like, it's kind of like tattooing. So yeah, there's the captain there. And yeah, that's the year. But it's pretty amazing scrimshoring. And if you want to get an idea of what the process is like at home, you can do this using a bar of soap and a needle and just some paint. And you can try and see, imagine what that's like. I mean, this is a really nice one, but you get some other ones that are just like really crudely scratched. I've got one of like a mermaid, a topless mermaid, and it's really bad. So there's that.
That's really cool. So wait, what did they use to scratch it with?
But they would have just used like, a pin or maybe like that end of to undo the top of their harpoon or something, or a knife or something like that. Okay. So just while they're bored, whiling away the hours at sea. So the other cool thing I've got here is this. And when I show people this, people often think that this is a seashell, and it's not a seashell. So what this is a sperm whale inner ear bone. So in a human, we've got 3 bones inside our ear: the hammer, the stirrup, and the anvil. And these are absolutely tiny little bones. They're like 2 millimeters long. They're the smallest bones in the human body. And they kind of work as a hinge system that go backwards and forwards. And so when sound waves hit our ears, it vibrates the eardrum. So obviously in the sperm whale, because they're so loud, they need some serious heavy duty ear bones. And so this is the inner ear bone of a sperm whale.
That's huge. Wait, hold it next to your head.
So
that is absolutely massive. Can you hear the sea when you listen in?
Well, I've got big ears, you know, and it's bigger than my ears. There we go. So, and I can hear your sperm.
Can you hear the sea? That's, I was saying that was really cool.
Well, I've got to say, so we borrow artifacts from this amazing museum in Brighton in the UK called the Booth Museum, and they lent me one of their sperm whale inner ear bones that was 50 years old. And unfortunately, what happened is I was running late to do a talk, and I quickly popped to the toilet, and I put it on next to the sink. And because it's like the center of gravity in it is all on one side, I put it next to the sink while I quickly popped to the loo, and it rolled off the sink and hit on the floor and smashed into 1,000 pieces. And I was like, oh, I've just broken them. And I was like, how do I get a new one? So luckily, well, I say luckily, there was around the North Sea back then when it smashed, there was a whole load. There was about 30 sperm whales that ended up getting stranded. So I emailed the people that were doing the autopsies, and I was like, hi guys, don't suppose you've got a sperm whale inner ear bone that we can have? And they were like, mate, it's like really deep inside its skull. We're not getting the inner ear bones out. So luckily I had the one from the Booth Museum repaired, but this one is 3D printed.
How nerdy do you have to be to email people to find the inner ear of a sperm whale?
I take my nerdiness to, you know, that's like a weird like email to open up. What? Like, hello, I've noticed you've been dissecting whales on the beach. Any chance you could post a chunk of it to me? Yeah, it's up there with like weird serial killer maybe. I don't know.
Very weird. I tell you what, I've never seen someone so upset with themselves than when you smash that inner ear bone. Though you looked heartbroken.
I was just picking up these tiny little bone fragments off the bathroom floor. I was like, what have I done? There we go.
Anyway.
So, on that note, what we're going to move on to a little bit more and focus on is noise within the ocean. So, as I said earlier, I'm based at the University of Bath, and there is an amazing a professor of acoustics, marine acoustics specifically, called Philippe Blondel, and I basically did a big chat with him, and he sent me a lot of his sound files. He does a lot of work with hydrophones, and I'll talk a little bit about his research afterwards. But we've got this little video now all about noise in the ocean. Obviously, it's going to talk a little bit about sperm whales because you've got to put sperm whales in everywhere, but it talks about noise pollution in a bit more of a broader sense. So let's cue that one up and have a look.
We're used to thinking that the underwater realm is a calm, tranquil place. But it's really noisy! So what's making all this noise? What's making all the noise?
I don't know.
There are lots of natural noises in the ocean. Rainfall hissing, wind howling, waves crashing, sand shifting, there's even lightning strikes. All of these combine together to make a constant ambient backing track for our ocean. Then, of course, there's all the marine animals that contribute their own sounds too. There's fish like the midshipman and the Atlantic croaker that make loud noises to attract a mate. There's the dolphins that use high-frequency echolocation to communicate and to hunt for prey. There's the baleen whales that communicate over vast distances using low-frequency sound. And then there's my absolute favourite, the sperm whale, which is the loudest animal on Earth. The loudest animal on Earth! Wait. The loudest animal on Earth! The loudest animal on Earth. Like us, they also use sound to communicate, but they also produce complex patterns of clicks to echolocate their prey at depths of up to 2,500 meters. and these clicks can be as loud as 280 decibels. For comparison, roadworks are about 120 decibels. In fact, sperm whales are so loud that they can knock their prey unconscious using only sound. And because sound travels 4 times faster in water than it does in air, in theory, 2 sperm whales can talk to each other anywhere on Earth. That's like me being able to shout to my sister in New Zealand. Hey Tash, how are you? But unfortunately, humans have significantly increased the level of sound in the ocean. Speedboats, jet skis, commercial shipping, Navy sonar, drilling for oil and gas exploration, offshore wind turbines, all combine together to create a cacophony of noise pollution. Just as loud sounds can hurt our ears, ocean noise can also harm marine creatures. As well as scaring animals, loud sounds can also cause changes in migration and feeding patterns. In fact, our ocean has become so noisy that it has vastly reduced the ability of animals to be able to communicate, making it harder for them to find mates. As sound is the main way that whales and dolphins see, all this extra noise that we're making reduces their ability to hear by up to 50%. So imagine you're trying to look at a picture through a smoke-filled room or have a conversation with someone at a loud concert. That's what it's like for whales and dolphins. So in 2016, a pod of 30 sperm whales made their way into the North Sea. They eventually became stranded on beaches across the east coast of the UK, as well as France, the Netherlands and Germany. So while whale strandings do happen naturally, it is thought that noise from oil drilling, wind turbines and sonar could all have played a part in their demise. So what can you do to reduce the ocean noise? Simple, it's so easy, just buy local. By consuming products that are grown or manufactured closer to where you live, you reduce the amount of goods that have to be shipped. If you're lucky enough to own your own boat, then just make sure you clean your propeller regularly to reduce the amount of underwater noise. And if you enjoy playing around on jet skis and speedboats, just stay away from sensitive areas like marine reserves, coral reefs and any breeding grounds for marine creatures. So together we can all play a part in making our oceans a quieter place again.
There we go.
Wow. I think what you were saying about the sperm whales in the North Sea and the strandings. See, I didn't realise this until a couple of years ago, but how shallow the North Sea is. The deepest parts are not even 100 metres deep, which is the same length as Usain Bolt runs, you know, at the Olympics. And the shallowest parts, which are all in the south where all those strandings happened, are all, 25, 35 metres deep, which is like, it's nothing. It's so shallow. I'm not surprised that they got disorientated and stranded.
Well, exactly. So there's a thing in the ocean called the SOFAR axis, or depth, and it's basically a depth. If you imagine it's something called a refraction. So sound waves get bent towards something, and it's in the ocean. We got different temperatures and different salinities, and so there's a density layer at depth where something called the thermocline happens. So you might have had it if you go swimming somewhere really warm and it's warm at the top, and then you put your hand or legs down a little bit and it's really cold. So that you've gone through is the thermocline, but there's like a much bigger one at about 200 meters. So a lot of submarines, they go down there to kind of send their sonar out, but also that's the depth that whales go to communicate with each other. So obviously if you can't go, if the water's so shallow that you can't hit that SOFAR axis, then you're not going to be able to communicate properly. Plus the fact those sperm whales are used to eating giant squid, and there's no giant squid in the North Sea because it's not deep enough. So Yeah, poor whales. There we go. But you know, what I really liked about that video is all the sound clips that we played were real sound clips from hydrophones. And there is an amazing website called Docits, which is short for Discovery of Sound in the Sea. And I'm just going to post that in the comments section. But essentially, you can go there and you can hear all kinds of noises from all different things, from animals and from different like machinery and different things that humans get up to. And you do realize like how ridiculously noisy it is. I mean, even naturally, even if there weren't speedboats and things like that there. So yeah, it's a cacophony in our ocean. So,
it really is.
Yeah.
But not so much this year.
Exactly. So this was, you know, every cloud has a silver lining. And because in COVID times, so much of the world last year was shut down, you know, we didn't need goods shipped as much. We didn't need like fuels being shipped as much either. So if you get an idea, so this is what global shipping looks like. And you can kind of see some of those bits there where the shipping intensity is really focused. And you can see almost like highways across the ocean there. So that's what it would look like normally, just ships going backwards and forwards all the time. But last year was just a weirdly quiet year for the ocean, which was really cool. And so there's loads of studies now being done looking at these hydrophone arrays that are kind of stationed permanently and seeing if creatures were able to communicate better and things like that. So yeah,
you can see that highway, the Suez Canal on that map really clearly, can't you? Which is now the most famous thing in the world since that boat got stranded.
Yeah, the Evergreen. Yeah, when that blocked it, and yeah, you imagine all those boats. Or it was 300 boats were backlogged in the Red Sea there. So yeah,
crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
The memes were good though.
The memes were good.
Yeah.
It spawned a lot of good memes that Evergreen thing. So I was going to talk really quickly about Philippe Blondel and his some of his research. So we talked a little bit there about that just rain falling on the ocean makes this like hiss sound. So he's actually written an algorithm where he's calibrated the level of sound to the amount of rain that falls. So just by listening to how noisy the rain is and how long that lasts for, he's figured out how much rain has fallen on the ocean in different places, which is pretty amazing.
That is such a complex piece of maths. I don't even know. Where would you start? That's insane.
It's pretty cool. And so the other thing that he's done, so one of the big problems in oil and gas exploration is we tow these massive arrays of air guns behind a boat. And these arrays of air guns will stretch for like kilometers. They're the size of a town. And they're just firing this really loud sound into the ocean that goes through the ocean sediments and then bounces back off oil and gas reserves. And one of the problems is that if you're a whale, and they tend to live underwater, and you get put into like this loud sound, it like scrambles their brains. It like literally like could just like lobotomize them. It just destroys chunks of their brain. It's that loud. So when they do oil and gas surveying at all times, they have a cetacean watcher on board the bridge with a pair of binoculars looking for whales and dolphins coming around. The problem is you've got to wait for them to come to the surface. Otherwise you can't see them. So, but again, Philippe has thought, well, if we're sending sound out into the ocean anyway, why can't we use that sound to detect the whales and dolphins that are underwater? So again, he's written another algorithm that allows that to happen. So you can detect the whales and dolphins underwater and be like, there's some over there, and just automatically like cut the air guns off, which is really cool.
That's a dream job, isn't it? Spending all your life on a boat just looking for whales and dolphins.
Definitely. It's pretty cool. Right, so we're nearing the end. We're past the halfway point, kind of, depending. So we need to make sure we're getting those questions coming in. So if you have got any questions, do type them in the comments section. We'll see them. It can be just about anything about stuff we've been talking about. If you've got any questions for like earth science for Sophia or like marine biology stuff, then try and ping it my way. While we're waiting for those questions to come in, this is a really good time to talk about some of the other things that we've got going on. So first of all, FuseSchool have a Patreon, which is really good. So if you want to support the work that FuseSchool does and gain access to different content, and just, I mean, FuseSchool is all about making education available for all. Doesn't matter how rich you are, what country you come from, whatever. They want everyone to just gain from that. So supporting their work is brilliant. So head over to their Patreon and just buy them a cup of coffee, guys. They work tirelessly, they work really hard, and they make great content. So totally subscribe to the Patreon. Next thing is they have got, if you've enjoyed some our videos about whales and you want to know a little bit more about sound waves, they have got some videos on the FuseSchool channel which you can check out. So they
should be linked in the description as well. Some videos from FuseSchool about sound.
And they look like, there's this one, sound waves in action. Oh, look at the little bird. Physics, we've got atoms. Oh, this looks great. And there's a more general one on different sound waves, frequencies, amplitudes, things like that. It's going to explain all the nerdy physics to you. So head over to that and find out a little bit more about the ins and outs of sound. Just while we're waiting for the last couple of questions to come in, I'm going to just say again, if you've tuned in late, please, if you're watching this through the Incredible Oceans channel, head over to FuseSchool and subscribe and like. This really helps. It's not an ego thing. It's all about the algorithm. It helps us monetize the channel. The more people that click on it, it allows us to keep doing the work that we do. We're trying to educate people about the oceans here at Incredible Oceans. FuseSchool are trying to educate everyone in the world about science.
Everything.
About everything. So head over, if you're watching it on FuseSchool, please head over to the Incredible Oceans channel, click like and subscribe on lots of things and check out our other content. And if you're watching it on our channel, head over to FuseSchool and learn about everything. There we go. So I think I've got a list of things I'm supposed to be saying. Fia, have I forgotten anything?
I think you've hit it all. I think that's all of it. Yeah.
Right. So let's have a look.
So there's one here. I saw a video where the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean meet, and there's a clear divide. Why is that?
Oh, okay. So I feel like it would be good to bring back that map, that shipping map, so we can have a look.
Yeah, put that on the screen.
Okay, so the two kind of hardcore places on Earth that are notoriously stormy, if you're a sailor, are the Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope, around the southern tip of South America, around the southern tip of the African continent there. And the reason why these places are notoriously stormy is or particularly wavy, it's where two water masses are colliding. So not only have you got various currents and things happening, but you've got, especially, I know a bit more about the one off the coast of South Africa. You've got something called the Benguela uprising. So wind, if it's blowing offshore, so it's on land, it's blowing away from the shore, is going to be causing water from depth to kind of be upwelled. So off the coast of Namibia and on the, let me get this right, on the west side of South Africa, it's really cold. Whereas on the other side, you've got this warm current that's coming down from the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. And where the cold water and the hot water combine, it's really, really super stormy. So yeah, South Africa is a great place. The aquarium there is called the Two Oceans Aquarium because it is the point at where two oceans combine, and all that energy and mixing and turbulence just makes for ridiculous physics. So around the southern tip of South America, there's a place called the Drake Passage, which is notoriously the stormiest place on Earth. I did a trip to the southern Orkney Islands in South Georgia with the British Antarctic Survey, and we had to pass through the Drake Passage, and we had 12-meter waves, which was really interesting. It was just nuts. So just everything constantly moving and flying around, and you just tried to go to sleep and you can't because you're like being poof, 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 like thrown around your cabin, just trying to work and sit at a laptop, and you're like sloshing around and things are falling over. There we go. Yeah, it was.
I get really seasick, so that's my like literal living hell. Absolutely not.
Well, weirdly enough, there was only one guy on the whole boat that got seasick. I think it was. I find that seasick is when it's a bit more gentle and it's like whoa, whoa, like that. Whereas like these were like kaboom, psh, kaboom, psh. So it was more like being on a roller coaster, or like being in a, I guess like being in a hotel, because we had like cabins and a place to eat and we had like a lounge, but it was like being in a hotel but where someone is just like tweaking gravity constantly. So you're trying to just walk down a corridor and you're like boosh, boosh, boosh into all the walls. So, yeah.
See, that's really interesting because obviously I'm a big geology person and this is slightly off topic, but they've started building buildings now that are earthquake resistant. And they're earthquake resistant because they slightly kind of sway and move when the earth underneath them moves. And I just think that must be quite disorientating, the same way as when you're on a boat and you're getting seasick. I can't imagine being in a building that's sort of gently swaying with the earthquake or with high winds a lot of the time as well. It's really scary.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I guess I've never been in an earthquake. And so I imagine that that's just super disorientating anyway, just being in a building that's shaking. You're like, but then with the added element of like a lot of danger. So yes, it's a good job. Yeah, living in the UK where nothing dangerous. We haven't got dangerous animals. We've got like a wasp. There we go. Cool. Well, I think I can't see any other questions there. We got any other ones popping in? I'm just going through the comment section across the different things. Yeah, I reckon let's just do a wrap
it up. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So thank you guys all so much for joining us today for our first ever live stream with FuseSchool. It's going to go down in history. It's the first ever, and hopefully we'll see you guys again soon. If you're watching us on...
Sorry, I'll shut up. You go.
If you're watching us on FuseSchool, head over to Incredible Oceans and hit subscribe, because we put content up every week teaching and educating about the ocean. If you're watching on Incredible Oceans, there's going to be tons of content that's supplementary to what we're making and will teach you about scientific processes in an even more complex way than we ever could. So do head over to FuseSchool and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to check out the FuseSchool Patreon. They've got 3 tiers and they all offer you wonderful, different, amazing things. So all of that is linked down there. And don't forget there's tons more videos about sound and noise over on the FuseSchool's YouTube channel.
I remembered a thing. I remembered a thing. So we said that this was the first FuseSchool Incredible Oceans collaboration. I'm sure you're wondering, is there going to be a second? Well, yes, there is, because coming up next month is World Ocean Day, which is the 8th of June. So we're going to be here again doing another collaboration with FuseSchool. We're going to be also, it's going to be part of World Ocean Day for school, and we're going to do one all about climate. So we're going to be looking at climate strikes, climate change, and how the ocean is linked in with that. But also we're going to be looking at sea level rise. So there you go.
Amazing. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we will see you in June, if not before.
Keep those questions coming in, and lots of love. Peace out, guys.